Troll Story by Eekheart Troll. Once upon a troll, there was a time in a world not unlike this one, where the legend and lore of anxiety and more came from the name, game, blame, and shame of the trolls.
Trolls are an ancient breed of ugly and awful creatures, both equally inept and ignorant in all their lacking luster. They can't muster the moment to own it, and have never won anything, but are in fact imperfect, impeccable losers. They have made a living off the evil given to others, be they sisters or brothers, fathers or mean scenes of their own trolling mothers. They have historically been ousted from all family units as unlovable, and wholly evil, awful, and terrible. Trolls are as ugly as they come, inside and out. Their hideous exteriors make them ideal to steal away and hide their shame and pain, as they are too unsightly to go out dancing at nightly, or stand uprightly erect or in direct sunlight. They might cause a plight or flight just by their sight. They are the eternal internal instinct of fight or flight, and by might we often opt to evade them than trade blows for blow, as they know their true ugliness to show is quite a mess in stress or distress they oppress at best. This is their unholy quest, to behest and behead, they that are led with dreams over dread. Trolls are forks for us folks too soon spoon-fed. They were never coddled, cared for, or read books before bed. They were never led by the hand or held in a wholesome, lonesome dove love, peaceful embrace. They have never known a loving, kind face that they did not want for by distaste and distrust, and they are indeed covered often in a pus and crust. Their lust is not of stardust, but of tar and rust. They are not to be trusted or told the truth, as their lies are living proof, and their dying horned and hoof. They are the polar opposite to the holy roof. They are below the devil's spoof, and even lower on the ladder to any level, but they have a navel, as they too were once like you, man, a human. Yes, that's quite the quest to become your best. Often these trolls have ingested and been infested with poison and pain, trauma and shame. They have played the games and been slayed by their trade. They have waded waist deep in the waters and been drowned in a frown of going down. They have found nothing but pain and loss and cost, and been tossed about and bossed around. No doubt they might have had tooth and claw and clout, but that went out when they did for a bid to bet, and they lost, got hosed and wet. Yet they never neglected their pain. They were permanently infected time and time again, and this came at the cost of all they hoped for was all they lost. They cried and tried, but they never lived or died, and they then pried to tear it away from others from where they came, and time again it was the same shame and pain. And they never refrained from their aim of the hateful, hurtful game, and instead of being led by love, they were shoved backhanded and gloved in a mitt of pit, of angry stank shit and grit in a pivot far from their dreams. These former people became mean. This was their new team, and they were founded on the darkness. Their sparkness and sharpness gave their tongues something to wag and brag and boast about. They felt no doubt in themselves if they could dare to share that bearing burden with others to earn it and burn it, they did. As they hid behind closed doors and locked lurches, these gargoyle perches with sea urchin spikes, waiting in ugly vein to deliver the pain and pangs with tooth and fangs, these vampires of energy as evil is their currency, as they currently are curing and enduring existence with pestilence and persistence. Let no cure take hold, the troll's resistance. There is the answer. Their hate is cancer, and they can't stand the tiny dancer. They despise the necromancer. They have no solution but more noise and pollution. Their delusion is our confusion, and their win is our losing. They're abusing our musing and using contusions to construe things untrue. They do this to you and all who shine in the light. For they have hearts empty and black as night. This their delight, to dim the light within and win by evil hateful sin. They're begging to be let in, and anything can tempt them, for they are weak within. They never win, they prey on the winning, the living, the bright, and those of light, because they know if you shine your light, they die in your heart's sunlight. So stay bright and never give up the good fight. Shine your birthright and stay bright. This is a fight they try to rewrite by type and code. In hideous, insidious abodes, they reek of the commode, and they erode all society of sobriety and piety for a variety of anxiety. In need of psychiatry, they are sick in the head, the living dead, and are gross and grossly misled, as they mislead they who read and bleed out comments, like vomit of vile bile, and rank stank beguile. They style their sarcasm in a chasm of chastity for destiny, to get the best of me, and he who created for is who they hated more. Anyone who created or stated original values, virtues, and art, because in their darkest parts they have blackened, broken hearts. Their wraths are not spiritualistic or ritualistic, but pain and gain of materialistic. They are the myriad of the dark triad, sadistic, Machiavellian, narcissistic psychopaths on the warpath for more neuropathy. Their psychosis, more neurosis, and more necrosis. They hate the smell of roses and turn up their bulbous noses at anything sweet, for they prefer the reek rank like stank feet and rotting meat. They are the filth below the street, the sewer of manure. Their detour is to obscure your tour and lure you by the immature to endure more torture and ensure their rank rancor will leave you too stained for their disdain and impure. They are unsure in everyone and hate all who create. This is their ingrate, ungreat fate to hate those that create, as this is their fight and debate. Between the dark and light spark, they are land sharks with no bite, only barks. They make noise, lack poise, as they annoy and destroy, but they are toys for overgrown boys, as they plot and jot and ploy. They are empty, hollow, shallow and callow. They exist only in the gallows and hate to follow the fallow. The unseated land and hand, control, alt, delete, and cheat. They are poor beggars below the street, rotten flesh, maggot meat. They bleat like goats and pretend coats of wolves. They are not apex or predators. They have no sex and are meddlers, discreditors, and peddlers of the pandering, meandering, meaningless mess. They profess to know best, but in never show their face or chest, or invest in any but to sequester a penny. They think it's funny, they're puny, punny, gloomy and loomy, but they aren't fooling, they tooling in a grueling dueling. Their ruling is not schooling. They are cheap and low in their blows, and below the heap the beggar's hand to hold. They are cold and old and rotten with mold, as they are told to be the trolled. As their telling and yelling and anti-selling continues, they are increasingly in need as they inbreed, and black, green, blue they bleed. They feed on their own vomit and bile, as they have been alive a while longer, as the evil empire will not let them retire. It's all part of the trolls' transpire evil desires. Their fires are smoldering, as they are shouldering a large chip on theirs, as their talent and wares were not enough to make it, so they made it by being rough on others, calling them not enough and not up to snuff. This is how the tough get tougher and the road gets rougher. Originally, trolls were planted by bridges as being the only place to harbor such ugly places and faces, and under traces of river bogs and fogs, they could hide among the roots, roads, toads, and frogs. And they were hired by the king to keep everyone and everything apart, as to trolls do their part. They who trade paid a toll, or a troll toll, as it was called back when and then, when days were long and men were men. Then when we walked by and by horseback had a crack at dragons and slain, these old ways were what some called the golden days. But to the trolls it was a time to troll and toll the bridges, "Thou shalt not pass." And the riddles of the road, "What's faster, the bullfrog or the horny toad?" These were wrote and writ by the script of kings men, and by pages of sages, to keep us light men in the dark ages. But bit by bit we figured it, and we found the way by smarts or by talent or by skill and will. We would outsmart the troll and rarely need to kill.
But it came then time to drill us further and keep the men from the kingly realm, to hold back the captain at the helm and form another barrier between the next land and this. This command gave trolls new alt-delete abilities, as their golden agilities were limited as roads gave way to superhighways. And by the new days, trolls were nearly outnumbered and outdated. They were too ugly to be mated and procreated, so they waited and they debated and they hated. Until one day, in the late 80s, they were not getting any ladies, but a new land had grown by demand, alt-delete shift in the sand, and command by the brand of the Apple and Max attack that had made a comeback since the Garden of Eden, as the heathen's home for all to fall and call the new Rome. This clone land had become known as the Internet, a place the trolls will not yet soon forget or be forgotten. Yes, they were still rotten and had gotten more evil in their shrill will of all must die and I must kill. That was their inner mantra, for lack of tantra or tantric. They were more manic and panic, with a tonic of a touch of bubonic. They had their new land, and it was in the palm of all our hands. They were now able to rule over every road without toadstool or cable. They were no longer of old folk or fable. They were present at every dinner table, from church to stable. They were enabled as they turned the tides and tables on all that were abled and disallowed and vowed to be disabled. They braved every place and person and race, even found ugly pics of politicians in brown face. And what we thought we all had erased, they replaced all our faces with ugly places and traces of treason for no reason but 'tis the season.
As they scoured and soured all who dared to live, to give us hell, make us pay for their deep longing, empty well. And in that is how we now can tell who they are, the trolls of lost souls, the hurt people who hurt people, the evils of sheeples, the weak will and cheap thrills, the lulls and lulls for their payment and tolls, the trolls of pointless pain for their gain and game and endless empty aim. They're playing their best way into the world that rejected them. They're infected when they were elected to be selected. Their dejected drama, their trauma not shared for all who dared to rise up through the ranks. These are the battling Gatling guns and tanks under the river banks by the bridges that tether us to the next side. This is where they lurk, smirk, and hide. They jab and jibe and bribe to hold you back from your tribe, to seed hate. That's their vibe. They are on no good sides and provide no service to the people of plenty. They serve themselves the hate for 20 and can hold back the entire community of unity. They were granted impunity by puny politicians who need their conditions to keep the status quo. They can't go letting everyone feel equal. That would not be the king's people or church's steeple. They must make us all feel as sheeple with weak, meek will, so we will shrill up and shrivel away and pay our taxes to go away. This is their pay to hate and say you're not to turn around. This is not for your ground or sound or your page. This is not for your age or ability. This is not for your family or friends. This is where you must end. This is where the road bends back to whence you came and leave with their shame. That's their game. They always plain because they never got to win or to be on the team to hold the gold. They were told they were too old, too cold, too ugly and of mold. They were told they were not enough. You're not tough. You're not enough. You don't got the right stuff. They too were sold on the poison and pain. They were told to go back from whence they came. They were told they will never have the bright light shine or gold. They too were trolled. But this is where we who see hold the key, we who know who we are and where we are going to be free. We are of the light and might of stars, we who are beyond the layers and above the bars. Despite the right or left, or fight or bereft, we are the few who can still see through the darkness. By this sparkness, this sharpness, we pierce the veil and prevail. We may move fast or snail, we may be set back and come back for a comeback attack, but we never give up on the right stuff and cup. We wear hearts on our sleeve and we achieve, and we believe, and we are the reprieve that has an ace up our sleeve, and go after our goal with a soul to retrieve. We are the teams and steam of stars and light, and we never give up the fight, might or light, or right day or night. We ignite the spirit of the light, and we fight on, forge forward, and forever treasure the measure of our merit and win it, no matter what trolls are sent to hold us back from our goals. We got more soul and rock and roll than all the trolls. We can take a beating and keep on controls, till we roll the dice to win from men to mice. To be nice is our price to pay along the way. We learn that what burns in the heat of the meat of the troll is a small broken soul, with no hope and no goal. And so we see their hearts broken, and see to seed a token of our unbroken love, from so above and to below, into the belly of the beast, where they feast on our fire and desire. We leave a message in their dire mire, a spirit to the spire, to transform, transcend, and transpire. From out the fire of our free will and skill, we leave the seed to bleed and love, and give from below to above, and to kid glove and not rid or shove, but to accept them, not reject them, not eject them, but to select them, elect them, and direct them to their own thrones and clones and kind. To be kind to their minds and mind their parts, and seed love in their tiny broken hearts. As to this can grow even in the darkest of places, this I know, that love can show the way for evil to go away, and by that light and might for love and right, we can fight the dark with the light. We can overcome the roads overrun and overruled by they that got fooled and tooled. The told, trolled, and controlled can now be set free to find their destiny, to live, love, and be anything and anyone they can think of, as trolls are people too. True, they may not be as equal to the rest of us, as infested in their self-ingested poison and pain, but they deserve another chance to dance just the same. So as trolls put away their pain and regain their name, we ask for you all to do the same. And perhaps one ugly person at a time, we can undo hate and undo crime, and make this world a slightly less unsightly place, and learn to love the face and embrace of the trolls that are all over this internet place.
And it's not the end until we are friends. So make amends before the told trolled road bends back to you again. Good God, help us all. Amen. Troll Story by Eekheart Troll. Ha 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 ha.